Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we're going to tell you all about The Miz cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Drew McIntyre at Elimination Chamber 2021.
We're also going to talk about The Miz blasting internet fans after he won his second WWE Championship last night.
Edge has picked his opponent for WrestleMania 37, and we're going to tell you who it is.
And we also had a new United States champion crowned last night at Elimination Chamber. I'm Adam Nicholas.
And I'm Andy Murray. And this is the news. That was quite smooth. Well done.
Smoothish for a Monday morning. I like it.
Hey, very good. Let's kick things off by talking about The Miz. It's the big story coming out of Elimination Chamber 2021. The Miz is a two-time WWE champion. Who would have seen that coming heading into the event? But it all went down after Drew McIntyre had won the Raw Elimination Chamber, successfully defending his WWE title, pinning AJ Styles for the final fall after claymoring him out of the sky in a really spectacular finish. But this wasn't the end of Drew's night. Big Bobby Lashley, Large Robert, came out and just murdered him, destroyed him, beat him up, put him in the Hurt Lock, just smashed the guy around, all in the name of softening him up so that The Miz could come down, hit a DDT, hit the skull-crushing finale, contract cashed in, 1, 2, 3, two-time WWE champion. The Miz back on top of the world in pro wrestling for the first time in, 10 years? That's right, it was 2011 when he lost the WWE title last time. So that's a long-ass gap between world titles. Must be one of the longest ever, up there with Bob Backlund and a few other examples. But it's a crazy, crazy turn of events. The Miz, here's a crazy stat for you, courtesy of Adam Lash on Twitter. The Miz, including last night, since January 2020, has won just 3 singles matches, and that includes last night. It's nuts.
Wow.
But at the same time, if a character like a chicken heel like The Miz is going to win the WWE title, he's going to do it by taking advantage of a weakened Drew McIntyre. Drew had fought in an Elimination Chamber. Lashley just ruined his life afterwards.
Yep.
So all The Miz really had to do is come down, hit a couple of moves, 1, 2, 3, job done. Nuts stuff. Something I did not see coming, but I guess it freshens the main event scene up somewhat. Adam Nicholas.
Well, whatever you think about this, I think it has injected some sort of excitement, which is what you tend to want on the road to WrestleMania. Now, I personally wouldn't have probably gone with this because I think The Miz he hasn't been presented to us, as you've mentioned there with that statistic. He has not been presented to us as the guy at all. Does that make it genius on his part? I don't know. If this brings out the fire in The Miz that has been lacking recently, then good. That's a great thing. But also, is he just here for a short time? I don't know. I'm not sure. But you talked about statistics there, Andy Murray. Here's a contrast for you. You said he'd only won 3 since, when was it, January?
2020, yeah.
2020. Well, now, as of last night, and imagine how insufferable he's going to be if he picks up on this himself, which I'm sure he probably will.
Yeah.
According to @WWE Stats on Twitter, they've said that The Miz is the first two-time WWE Grand Slam champion, essentially meaning he's gone round the ranks and won all the belts twice. The first person to ever do that. So, I guess, Andy Murray, we should shut the hell up because he's obviously the best wrestler in the whole world.
Yeah. No one else has done this. The Miz, factually a better wrestler than Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, The Undertaker, Steve Austin, The Rock.
Goodness me.
Eat your heart out, all of those guys. You are just a passenger on The Miz's journey.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much great heel material for him to cover, and I'm actually looking forward to his promo tonight. And speaking of promos...
Oh, look at that seamless transition for me. I love that. Well, as we said, if this is the thing that's going to bring the fire out of The Miz that perhaps has been lacking during, let's say, a fun time he's been having with John Morrison, then I'm all for it. And it seems that might be the case because after Elimination Chamber last night, obviously he won the belt. And a lot of people were upset because it's The Miz and he kind of brings that out of people. And he loves it. This is where The Miz thrives. And in a promo straight after Elimination Chamber, he had quite a few choice words to say. I think I'm just going to run it down for you because it's that good. It's that kind of Miz goodness that we want. Basically, he said understand that I told you so. Whenever someone says I wasn't thinking on their level, I am a master strategist. Take that, Edge. I think further than anybody else in all of WWE. I didn't just take respect, I demand it through all the WWE universe, and I could care less if everybody's on the internet going, no, Miz doesn't deserve it, or Miz shouldn't be the WWE champion. This part in particular was my favourite. Cry. Go ahead and cry. Keep on doing it because that is the fuel that lights my fire. I am your WWE champion, whether you like it or not. Now, there's a whole bunch more here, but I won't spoil it all for you. Go and see it. It's better coming from his mouth than it is from mine. This is pure fire from The Miz, which is exactly what we want. Again, Andy Murray, not sure how long this is going to last, but I'll take it, right? Like this, in the little interim moment, this is kind of good.
It's good stuff, this. It's really good stuff because he knows how people are going to react to this. And he's just like, oh, boo-hoo, stop crying. It's like, I say stop crying. He's encouraging them to cry. So it's the complete opposite of what I've just said. But it's a tremendous promo. He's really good at these gloating, unlucky, I'm the champion, you're just a bellend. He's really good at that kind of promo. And, a lot of people are really annoyed by what happened last night. I can kind of stomach it because I can figure out where it's going, but we've got a Twitter question on that, so we will save that one to the end. Either way, it's a fire promo, and you should definitely check it out. Miz in really prime gloating form, for sure. Speaking of opportunists, Edge, there we go. He has selected his WrestleMania 37 opponent, and it is exactly who you thought it was. It was reported shortly after the Royal Rumble that Edge was going to challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That happened. Last night, Roman Reigns was just as cowardly as The Miz. He took advantage of Daniel Bryan after Daniel Bryan had won the Elimination Chamber to earn a title shot. That lasted about a minute and a half. Roman Reigns put Daniel Bryan away when he was weakened, and he'd gone through the hell in a chamber. I don't know. Out comes Edge. Well, I say out comes Edge. He just spears him out of nowhere. Spears him out of his boots, and he does a whole lot of pointing at the WrestleMania. I don't know where it is. He's pointing at the sign. He did a lot of pointing, and because he pointed a lot, you know that something is going to happen. Because the ultimate authority in WWE, it's not you, it's not Adam Pearce, it's not Vince McMahon. It is pointing at the WrestleMania sign. I'm happy about this. I think it's a more compelling match than something on the Raw side. I think they're a really interesting clash of characters, and I think things will really heat up now on the road to WrestleMania. Should be a good match and a fun spectacle.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's about time. I know that was obviously they wanted to try and delay this as long as possible for the intrigue factor. I think it was wearing thin, has been now for a while. We kind of were hoping this was going to be the match. It's confirmed now, which feels more exciting because at least we know they're not all of a sudden it's like, surprise, actually Randy Orton's somehow a champion and Edge is now going to fight him. That would have been a nightmare. But this is a great match. This is a match that's been perfectly set up by the fact that Reigns is this monster heel, Edge the comeback. And to be honest, I don't think Edge needs to win this. I just think it needs to be a great match, and I think Roman needs to put him out to pasture, well, for a little bit anyway, until he comes back. But yeah, exciting stuff, and I'm big into this. Edge in the main event of WrestleMania. Of course I'm into it. Of course I'm into it, Andy Murray. Tell you what else I'm into. Title changes, Andy Murray, is what I'm into. Look at that. Whew. Seamless this morning. Smooth. Only took with 3 takes to get here. But however, last night there was a United States Championship title change on the Elimination pay-per-view. It was all going so well. Elimination Chamber 2021 pay-per-view. And so initially we had, obviously it was meant to be Riddle, Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley for the belt. Keith Lee was removed from the match. We'd heard rumours about this before and it was confirmed before the show. So they put together a pre-show match in which it was a fatal four-way between Morrison, Elias, Mustafa Ali and Ricochet. And the winner of that match, despite all the potential prospects, was John Morrison, who came out and joined the triple threat match. And in the end, he did not win the triple threat match. You see that little swear there? It was, in fact, Riddle who would be the man who came away with the belt. Bobby Lashley was, of course, never pinned. Morrison was the man to take the pin. Kind of makes sense. Lashley was kept protected once again, as he has been quite a lot in WWE recently. And obviously, we now get the feeling he might be moving on to bigger and better things, which I think he probably deserves. At this point, the notable here is, of course, Riddle is your new United States champion. Now, obviously, again, we mentioned Riddle previously when he about his contract being renewed, and it seems that WWE are happy to kind of go full steam ahead with him, despite all of the allegations that are still currently surrounding him. I feel it's important that we do mention that.
Yeah.
But that is your new United States champion, Andy Murray.
Yeah, for sure. I think this was done as a vehicle to get Bobby Lashley towards something bigger and better because, with all due respect to the United States title, of course, but the world title is bigger than it. So why did I qualify that? That was strange. They want to put Bobby Lashley in the main event scene. He's been one of WWE's most protected wrestlers for like a year now, almost, since shredding the whole Lana storyline.
Since he put the tights on. Since he put the tights on, Andy Murray. That's where the magic is in all of this.
If you put on some tights, you're going to go at the main event. That's how it works.
You're going to reach the heights, man. You're going to reach the heights.
God, come on. It's Monday morning, man. Come on. I'm not as functional as you. It takes me a few days. It takes me a few days to warm up. But I'm all for large Robert Lashley in the main event scene. I love the guy. I think he's awesome. And it's a real shame that WWE hadn't really capitalized on just how much fun he is as a powerhouse prior to linking up with MVP Small Montel. He's not that small though, is he? That doesn't work. We could have had a little enlarged combo, but it doesn't work at all. Where the hell is this going? Bobby Lashley is big and good, and I'm happy about this. Let's move on to Twitter questions.
Let's do that.
First one comes in from CM Chunk, a legend of the Twitter question game, who asked, standout performance of the Elimination Chamber. What do you guys think, and how would you book that person for Mania? There's a couple for me, but the two that stand out the most are the old favourite, Cesaro, who I thought had an excellent high effort showing in that SmackDown Elimination Chamber, and Daniel Bryan always, because he's a wrestling genius and he makes things great no matter how small the window. But I mean, there were a lot of really good performances on this pay-per-view, so you could pick. I mean, I thought Lashley looked really good in the US title triple threat as well. So, who have you got, Adam Nicholas?
I tell you what I went for, because I figured you might go for our boys, Daniel and Cesaro, and to be honest, they were excellent. They were exceptional. Jey Uso, for me, had an exceptional little turn. I thought they used him well in terms of. You might have just thought he was going to try and scrape his way through, but he didn't, man. That guy got some big elimination. Like, he put Kevin Owens to pasture in that match, using his brains, locking him in the gate, and obviously kicking his head off his shoulders, basically. I really thought they actually made him, presented Jey Uso like an actual credible threat, which I think was important, given how important he is to Roman Reigns and the regime with the whole tribal chief gimmick. So, yeah, I'd like to see something for him. I think he deserves it. I know he's probably just going to be involved as a looming presence maybe in Roman's match, but I'd genuinely like to see Jey get some rub as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool for sure. As far as I totally neglected the second half of this question myself. But as far as how I'd book Daniel Bryan and Cesaro going to WrestleMania, I would do the nerd feud. Satisfy dorks like me who just want really cool matches and book them against each other. Why the hell not? They've had some really fun matches on SmackDown lately, and if you give them 15-20 minutes on the pay-per-view, it would be so sick. I don't think they'll do that because WWE don't go, hey, look at that dork with his star ratings, let's appease him. That's not how they book programs, but I think it'd be cool, and it'd be nice to see Cesaro getting a WrestleMania spotlight for sure. Let's head over to Aditya Sawant, who asks, morning gents, after Miz's win and provided he doesn't lose the title on Raw, I have thoughts about that. Will WWE try to set up a triple threat between Miz, Lashley and Drew, or will they rush Damian Priest into the title picture? He's an interesting guy to mention in that conversation because he's so new to the scene. But to address your points, I actually think The Miz is losing it on tonight's Raw. I think Bobby Lashley is going to beat his ass and take it. And I would love that. That would be awesome. But to answer your question, I think that maybe a triple threat is a bit less likely for me than a singles match. I think that the ultimate goal for WWE is going to be Lashley winning it at some point before WrestleMania, whether it's tonight or whether it's at Fastlane, and then them doing Drew versus Lashley one-on-one so that Drew can beat a heel at Mania in front of a crowd and get his moment. I think that's what they'll do, but the roadmap that you've put down there makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah, I think I could probably agree with that, to be honest. I think a triple threat... See, this is the problem. If we had a point where The Miz had won this belt and felt like a real credible contender at this point, you might be clamouring for that triple threat, I think. But just based on everything that happened last night, I feel like Lashley coming out, it felt like the focus was very much on Bobby Lashley. I know Miz was the one who won the belt, but Lashley came out there and looked like a real monster, beating up Drew McIntyre, who's the top guy of that brand, and it barely broke a sweat, let's be honest. And It felt right. It felt right. So for me, I would probably say you might be onto something in terms of Miz losing that belt beforehand. I'm going to optimistically say he might get to a pay-per-view and have the match, but I think Lashley might end up getting it off him. And then I would like to see Drew get his win at Mania as well. I think in front of fans, that would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
which means he probably won't. He'll just lose.
Yeah.
Have him lose in 10 seconds to Bobby Lashley's Hurt Lock.
There we go. And our final question today comes from Name Cannot Be Blank. Fair play. Silent Penguin 35, who asks, what do you think the deal was between The Miz and MVP / how much did it cost The Miz? Wrong answers only.
Oh, okay.
I think that it cost The Miz his knee. MVP is injured. We learned that last week. He had the crutch last night, of course. I think The Miz has got to give that knee up, man. You know, the deal's been done now. Miz, give me your knee. Although, you know, it's kind of a terrible deal for Miz in the end because he's going to have half of his leg amputated and given to MVP so that his works. And he's also going to lose the WWE title to Bobby Lashley. So The Miz has struck a terrible deal here.
It's the worst short-term deal ever.
It might well be. Have you got any crap ideas for this, Adam Nicholas?
I've got some really great wrong answers for this one. I think, actually, Andy Murray, you are underestimating how bad of a night this was for The Miz. What does The Miz consider himself as? One of the ultimate heels in WWE. And what does Bobby Lashley like more than anything? Taking people's wives. So I think that The Miz has literally signed away his wife, his children, and his hit show, Miz and Mrs., which will now be renamed Lash and Lass.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's what it cost him. There he is, sitting with Thanos in the little weird realm, asking him what it cost, and he says, it cost me everything.
And then, you know, the Lana storyline worked out so well last time. I'm sure this one will play out greatly as well.
What could possibly go wrong for Bobby Lashley?
Oh, man. Anyway, we've given you our wrong answers. Give us yours in the comment section below. Let's get some dumb stuff going off, and I'll try and find the best one for tomorrow's news video. Anyway, thank you for joining us today. We are on Twitter. That's a thing. It's at WhatCulture WWE. You can find Adam Nicholas at...
It's Adam Nicholas, and you can find Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Hey Man, nice shot. Shouts to Filter. Yeah, if you like turn of the century new metal, I've got your back. Bye.
Wow.
What a nonsense.